So now I actually want to configure email. Now we do have basic email capabilities as part of the Service Manager release. And we have this channel, which I already configured. And essentially we add SMTP servers. So this is for Outbound. And it's using Windows integrated, so it's using my workflow account, which I actually gave it an email address. It's got an alias of help desk, even though it's Service Manager work. My alias is help desk, and I've enabled email notifications. But to really get a good messaging integration experience, an Exchange connector was actually released. This isn't inbox, but it was released shortly after. And there's two things we need for this. So we actually have to download the Exchange connector itself. So again, you can go and search, if you Bing System Center Service Manager Exchange connector, and there's the download. It's pretty long. So we need to download this Exchange connector and then run it. When you run it, it basically extracts out the Exchange connector. There is also a send email that's separate, but it's sort of bundled together, that really adds action to be able to send email to end users requesting maybe more information or communicate them within an instant. And I'm not going to worry about that one for now, but if you wanted it, I mean, it's right there. There's a deployment guide. It's totally possible to do. The other thing we actually need is the Exchange Web Service Managed API, version 1.1. And again, if you just Bing Exchange Web Services Managed API, this is going to be the first hit. I want the 64-bit version, so I'm going to download that first one, not the 32. And once you've downloaded this, you're going to run it, and you select a folder, because essentially all we want out of that, so I ran it to this Exchange folder. All I actually want is this web services.dll file. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to copy this file. You need to copy it to your Service Manager installation folder. It's Program Files, System Center Service Manager 2010. We're just going to copy it into there. And also what we want is the Exchange connector. It's important we get the DLL. I'm also copying over the XML file and the management pack for change request integration. So you don't have to do the change request one, but again, it gives you additional capabilities around showing mail history in your change requests actually as part of the log. So it's a nice to have. So I'm going to copy those. Again, I'm just pasting those into that folder. So that all four of those files have been added. I don't know if they even are the latest files, but no. I'm actually copying them into my Service Manager installation. If you wanted to confirm they were there, we're looking for Microsoft System Center Exchange. So there's the extension and the XML file. And you're looking for Microsoft Exchange Web Services. There we go. So we've done that. So again, everything's management pack based. So what we're now actually going to do is under our management packs, we're going to import. And because we copied it into our default folder, they're already here. So again, it's just really a case of searching for them. So I need my Microsoft System Center Exchange connector. So type XML with one of those files. Yep. So we can import that in. And also put in an MP file for the change request. Microsoft System Center Service Manager change request action log. Open that and import. And then somewhere in here, there's my change request action log management pack. If I was really observant, I'd be able to see my filter. There's my Exchange connector as well. So the next step is effectively, so let's configure it. So under administration connectors, remember before, this is where I had for my Active Directory, my configuration manager. I should now have a new option, my Exchange connector. This is really going to walk me through doing this configuration of the connector. So this is my and then really what I'm putting in now, this is how it's actually going to parse what is being sent to it to work out what it takes from the emails and then how it populates into the incident automatically. So for example, it's looking for what's the approved, what should it search for to know it's been approved, and it's saying, hey, you can just type in approved. What's the keyword for resolved? How do I know who it's from? So we can really just accept defaults for this. Would be nice if it just did the defaults. So my forest is samueltech.net. For replies, it's going to embed it in, so that's fine. So this is the template that is going to be applied when this comes in. Now, one thing that is important, and I need to actually go and double check on this template must set the initial impact and urgency. So one of the things I really should have done is gone and actually create my own template. And I might actually come back and change this. So we'll set default. And to apply for an update, again, I'll leave that as default, but would probably want to really customize those a bit more. This confirmation, and we'll go ahead and create that. So let's go and look at this. Template and all those settings I specified. Again, just really quickly, we can go and check in our templates. What is that default instant template? What does it actually set? So it has an impact and an urgency, so actually that's fine. So to test it, essentially all we'll now do is send in an email. So I'm on my client and I'm going to jump to his mailbox. And all I'm going to do is create a new email, and I set up an alias for that service manager. To help desk. Problem sending email. This is a user sending just an email to the help desk. I'm unable to send any email. Please help urgently. I've sent 20 emails today to help desk asking for help and no one will respond. Thanks. Okay, obviously humor, but someone mailing in, send them email doesn't work. So they can't send any email, so they're going to send an email to the help desk requesting the help. So we hit send. So that then will go to the service manager email box. And then what will happen is on service manager, this connector for the exchange is actually going to fire off. I actually made a quick change. I changed it to the original service manager work to the alias help desk. Everything else is exactly the same. So it's going to fire every 5 minutes. And when that fires, what we'll actually see is we'll see an email incident. So that's going to take up to 5 minutes. You can always monitor that if you actually go to the event viewer, go to application services, and I can refresh this. We can actually see it connected in. So it actually connected in at 6 o'clock for the last time. So it's due to fire within the next 60 seconds. It should do another check. Again, it's because it's firing every 5 minutes, because that was the frequency I configured in that connector. So once we actually hit that time, and it does that check, we should actually see that incident get automatically created within Service Manager. So we'll just let this wait. So there I've got it. We actually see, so what the text, the title has been put into it in the incident. If I go and refresh the log, we would have seen it actually went and picked up processing email. So it gives us lots and lots of detail about what it's doing. So it found in the subject there wasn't an existing work item, so it's a new email. See, problem send the email. So it basically just traces through. So it found it. The description is the body of the email. And then as the help desk analyst, I can go in and say, well, it's an email problem. Hey, I'm going to assign it to me. Notice it's fully integrated with Link, so it's presence aware. So if I wanted to, I could instantly actually just start chatting to the Bruce Wayne. And that's it. That's the inbound processing. And like I say, it's going to do that for anything. An inbound email, just new, is going to be creating a new incident. But we could customize that behavior if we wanted to. And I could build workflows around that as I can with everything else in the system. If it has an existing ID in it, we could actually make it process maybe change requests to approve and reject. And what we're going to look at next is actually doing that outbound email. And then at the end, we'll combine the two other things together to actually see how I automatically fire out an email, but then I'm going to enable in that outbound email them being able to accept the change request. So let's actually look at sending out an email. So I'm going to create some templates so I can actually send out emails. And for this, I actually want to do it when it's a change request. So the first thing I have to do is actually create a new template, because this is going to define what is actually sent to the end user. So this is basically going to contain the content of, hey, a change request has been created and you need to approve it. So I'm going to create a new email template. And we'll just call it notify viewer. To approve. Email to request approval. So this is going to be a review activity. This is basically going in and approving the item. And that management pack's fine. So now we actually define what we want it to look like. So you notice here I've got this insert button. So what I'm actually going to do is I can insert special fields so that what the person receiving the email gets isn't just some generic item. So for example, I can say your review is required for item ID, and then I can do this insert button. For example, we have all these review activities. And the work item, I can say ID. So the subject would actually say your review is required for the item ID, and then the actual proper ID of the message. So then we can add to it following has been assigned to you for action. Please click the link below to approve or reject. So it's HTML, so we'll do a break. Title. Again, we can do the insert. I'm going to select the title of the item. Break. And then link to my actual Service Manager portal. So mine is https savdal Service Manager 1 savltech.net /analyst/review activity details.aspx $AID equals, so we can basically now pass it the ID. So it's dynamically going to place that inside it. And again, you may only play around with this. I've not actually tried this, so we'll see how this actually comes out. Summary, what does it look like? And create. So now I have that email notification, but I need to tell the system to actually send that email. So what I'm actually now going to do is go in and do a workflow. Configuration, say, hey, when this activity happens, use this template. So I've got the notify reviewer to approve. Go to my workflow configuration. Now, even though it's a change request, the change request workflows only actually allow me to do actions if it's a new change request created or a change request is updated. So obviously that's useful to notify, hey, yeah, you've got a change request created for you, or a change request has been changed, but I don't want to do that. I want to say, hey, an activity is required, i.e. a review. So I'm going to use the activity event workflow rule. It's a review activity. My name is going to be review workflow. It's got the name. For the type of event, I actually want it when the activity is updated. So it's changing from when the status does not equal in progress, i.e. it's not currently in progress. I want to fire it when it's changing from not in progress, when it's changed to in progress, if that makes sense. So it's when it's basically when this activity goes from not being in progress to being in progress, it's when I want to fire this off. So I don't need to apply a template for this. What I want to do is notify. So the person who's going to be emailed is the reviewer, not the created by, but you can see what I could do with this capability. The email template is notify reviewer to approve. and I should now have my workflow. Great. And again, it's going to go out, but it's actually going out through my email notification channel. Using that. So let's test it. Actually, before we test this, when I think about it, the template I actually created, it's just going to have the text of the link, but nothing I can actually do anything useful with. Because right now this text will just appear as text. But if we actually change it to, let's say link, and then if we, it's because this is HTML, if we say a href equals, that's now put that in as an actual link, and we could actually now put in some, we can either paste a reference again, so you can just click on it. So we'll just type the same thing again as the text that would actually be displayed. And then close that out. So now it's actually send the email and we should see a clickable link. So now obviously need something to trigger that. So here's my mailbox here. And so I need to generate a change request. So I'm going to generate a request software. I need this test package. It needs approval. So what this should do is automatically now send an email to the reviewer, which is me, I'm his boss. I need this, please. Submit. Then what we should see is pretty quickly they've submitted that request, and then once the workflow actually picks up that request, it should fire off and actually send me an email. Now that may take sort of a few seconds as it actually goes through the engine, detects the new change request and actually actions it. And there we go. It popped up. Notice I now have a link I can actually click on. Please click the link below. Okay. And there. And from here I can just approve or reject it directly. So I'm going to reject it. Don't like him. And that's it. So that's the integration with the email. We saw how easy it was. And the reason we got that email was because if I go to my change requests, what actually happened is it's failed because I rejected it. But if I go and look at the activity, the stage would have actually gone from nothing to in progress. And as soon as it went to in progress, it fired off that workflow. So that's outbound email. And obviously you can customize that to do anything you want. So I wanted to combine both the sending of email and receiving of email at the end and sort of spice things up a little bit. So if you remember our template I had initially, what I've actually done is I've made it look a bit prettier. And it's actually very easy to do. If you have something like Expression Web, for example, you can actually design what you want your email to look like in Expression Web and then cut and paste the HTML over. So what I actually did is I tried to make it look a lot nicer. So if I look at the properties of this now, so this is the email, it's the same workflow. When a change request, when a review activity goes from not in progress to in progress, it fires this off. You notice my design template now is a sort of a full HTML. I'm going to copy this over and I'm going to paste it into Expression now. It's probably not going to render well because, okay. And you see now, this looks a bit prettier. So new request been submitted. I've got a little table with colors here. And it's using the ID when it was created, the link, so you can go and click on it. But now I've also got these approve and reject options, which if I look at the hyperlink, it's actually doing a mail to. So it's actually just going to send a mail to our service account. So it's now going to test the inbound. The subject contains a square bracket and the ID of the review activity, which remember, if there's a square bracket and activity, the inbound exchange connector will actually process this. So this is accepting in a review activity. The body is going to say approved if they click the approve link. So it's going to take that and say, hey, for this review activity, it's approved. Likewise, I have a link for reject. Which again, exactly the same work ID, but this time in the body, it's going to write rejected. So now, when I, as a reviewer, get this, I don't even have to click this link anymore to look at it. I can if I want, or I might say, yeah, just approve it or just reject it. So again, I design it in here, I cut and paste all the code, and I just pasted it into here. So I've now got this prettier looking one. So we didn't actually change anything. So let's actually see this go all the way through. Yeah, that finished saving. I'm going to jump actually over to work items. So I don't have any. So on my client, again, I'm going to jump to the end user self-service portal. I want to request some software. Same again. I want to do that copy picture test. Approvals needed, yes. So this is all exactly the same as before. Need it, please. So nothing special is happening right now. Submit. Back on the service manager. There it is. Status, nothing's happened yet on the status. So here's my inbox. And what I'll see is, I'm going to see an email. And that's going to tie in. As soon as I get the email, what we'll do is we'll jump over and we'll see the status would have changed to in progress. Because remember, when the status for the view activity changes from something not in progress to in progress, it actually is going to go and fire off that email we've configured. Again, these workflow things run periodically, so it's not instant, but it should be within a minute easily. Okay, so that just appeared. If I quickly refresh over here, status is in progress. If I edit that, I'll actually see what changed was the review activity is now in status in progress. So remember, that was that workflow we defined. So we look at our activities in the activity event. It was our review activity, request review, remember. This is where we just said it didn't equal in progress, and then it changed to is in progress. So that's what fired it off. Again, it fired off that to reviewer. So back to the change. So now I've got this email. If I open it up, it's a lot prettier. You can see I've got my ID, the created, and I've got an approve or reject option. Again, I still don't like him, so I just click reject. It automatically just creates an email with the subject and rejected. I click send. And I can delete this now. And then what's going to happen, remember, is after 5 minutes, it's going to fire that job to go and pick up the email, and we will actually see this basically go to failed because that activity was done on rejected. So let's wait for our time to elapse. So it's gone to failed. We can quickly see again if I refresh. We just processed emails coming in. Processing mail item RA93, that was the one we sent, and that's how we got that rejected. Again, if we open it up, we will see the approve was rejected. So again, didn't have to even go into the website. Now with that mail and the ability to process inbound email, we can just embed a link within that message we sent saying, hey, do you want to approve or disapprove? And they can easily just approve or reject it. So hopefully that sort of shows the power of the mail connectivity with Service Manager. We have a nice portal that we can customize, but for things like the approvals and rejections and even submit an instance, you can actually do it all through Exchange. I hope this was useful. I hope it really gave you some indication of the power of the messaging integration, and hope you have fun playing with it.